How many times have you heard a no and thought that was the end? Imagine being rejected over 30 times in job interviews, repeatedly failing school exams, and trying to get into university only to be turned down multiple times. Now picture that. Despite all of this, you still find the strength to turn each of those failures into stepping stones toward one of the greatest successes in the world. Sounds impossible? That was exactly the journey I lived. My story begins with countless failures. During school, I failed my fundamental exams twice. Later in secondary school, I failed 3 more times. When the time finally came to apply for university, it seemed like things might improve. But that wasn't the case. I tried for 3 consecutive years and was rejected each time. Yet I kept pushing forward, believing that at some point, things would work out, looking for smarter ways to grow your wealth. Click subscribe to Eurocash Money now and join the journey to financial freedom. Don't miss out. Your future starts here. After graduating from university, I thought the worst was behind me, but I was mistaken. For 3 years, I applied to job after job, only to always receive the same response: no. I applied to become a police officer, but they told me I wasn't qualified for the role. Then, when a famous international fast food chain arrived in our city, it seemed like an easy opportunity. 24 people applied, and 23 were hired. I was the only one rejected. That wasn't the only door that closed. I applied to a prestigious university in the United States no fewer than 10 times. Every single time I received a rejection letter. It's hard to put into words how those rejections affected me, but I can tell you that each no was like a blow that forced me to get back up and keep trying. During this time, I sought inspiration in films that showed people facing extreme challenges and yet managing to overcome them. I remember one in particular, about a simple and persistent man who was often underestimated by those around him, but continued to press on without ever giving up on his goals. That film taught me that it doesn't matter what others think. What matters is believing in what you're doing. One memorable line from that film says, "Life is full of surprises, like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get." That idea stayed with me for years, especially during moments of doubt and difficulty.
I remember feeling extremely depressed around 2002 or 2003, when it seemed impossible to find a way forward on the internet. It was while watching that film at a friend's house that I regained my motivation. I realized that even without support, resources or understanding from others, I needed to believe in what I was doing. It didn't matter if it seemed like a silly idea to everyone else. What mattered most was that I saw value in it. Shortly after, I gathered a small group of friends at my apartment. There were 18 of us, and many were just students. That day, I told them something that changed our lives. If we work hard and don't give up, we can prove it's possible. If we succeed, 80% of young people in our country will also be able to achieve their dreams. We had no money, no support from banks, and no influential family connections. All we had was our determination and the willingness to learn from our mistakes. Of course, it wasn't easy. Facing rejection is never simple. At the start, we were all discouraged and began questioning our choices. But little by little, we realized that each rejection came with a lesson. Every closed door forced us to think differently and find new paths. Today, I see many young people who give up far too quickly. They complain about the difficulties, lose hope, and, in doing so, fail to see the opportunities right in front of them. What I learned from this experience is that the future doesn't belong to those who simply accumulate knowledge, but to those who can create, innovate, and think independently. While many are busy complaining about their problems, the opportunities are often hidden within those very challenges. If you solve one of these problems, you'll find your chance to shine. Throughout our journey, we faced a lot of criticism. When we introduced our idea for an online payment system, many people said it was the most ridiculous idea they had ever heard. They said no one would use it. But I was convinced that even if it seemed like a silly idea, if it helped people, it would be worth it. Today, over 800 million people use that system. People often called me crazy. They said I was trying to create something no one understood. I still remember the first time I saw my name in an important magazine. They called me the madman who's trying to change things. But do you know what I discovered? Being crazy is a good thing. Being different is a good thing. Because if everyone understood and agreed with your idea, you wouldn't stand a chance. Success only comes when you're willing to take risks and believe in what no one else does. It's important to remember that each person is unique. You don't need to follow the same path as everyone else. Many young people today complain that they don't have opportunities. I used to complain a lot too. But over time, I realized that complaining doesn't solve anything. In fact, where there are many complaints, there are also many opportunities. If you can solve one of these problems, you'll find your place in the world. So if you want to become an entrepreneur, my advice is, don't be afraid to fail. When we started, we were just a small group of people without big resources or prestigious degrees. But we had something powerful, a shared dream, and the willingness to learn from our mistakes. If you graduated from a prestigious university, respect those who didn't have the same opportunity. And if you came from a humble school, respect yourself. We all have value. Success doesn't depend on where you started, but on how you face challenges and seize the opportunities that come your way. Today, looking back, I see that every mistake, every rejection, and every difficulty were fundamental pieces in my journey. Yes, we had luck, but that luck was built through hard work, perseverance, and resilience. It wasn't easy, but it was possible. And if I could do it, so can you. From the very beginning, my life was marked by failures. Back in primary school, I failed basic exams twice. Later, during secondary school, I faced even more difficulties and failed 3 more times. When the time finally came to try for university, I thought it would be my moment to turn things around. But that's not what happened. For 3 consecutive years, I took the entrance exams and was rejected every single time. Even so, I didn't give up. Every no I received pushed me to try again. I knew that no matter how hard it was, the only way to overcome those barriers was to keep going. After I graduated, I thought my streak of bad luck was over. But I was wrong. For 3 years, I sent out CVs for various job openings. I went into interviews with optimism, only to hear a no at the end. I applied to become a police officer, but was told I wasn't qualified. When a well-known fast food chain opened in my town, I thought, this is my chance. 24 people applied. Of those, 23 were hired. I was the only one rejected. That experience was one of the most challenging moments of my life. But the challenges didn't stop there. I applied to a prestigious university abroad 10 times, and every single time I got the same response. Unfortunately, you were not accepted. For many people, that would have been reason enough to give up. And honestly, there were moments when I thought about quitting everything. What kept me going was the inspiration I found in stories of people who faced adversity and still succeeded. I particularly remember a film about a simple and persistent man. He was often underestimated by those around him, but kept moving forward, never losing sight of his goals. That film taught me a powerful lesson: never give up, no matter what others say. A memorable line from the film was, "Life is full of surprises, like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get." That idea stayed with me for many years. Whenever I felt lost or demotivated, I would remember those words. Looking to the future, I see that it won't belong to those with the most knowledge, but to those who can create, innovate, and think independently. The world doesn't need more people acting like machines. In the years ahead, machines will be able to imitate humans. What will set us apart is our ability to imagine, create, and